Hello and welcome to the Daytime Emmy Specials here on JLJ Media. I'm James Lott Jr., the JLJ of JLJ Media. And I am here, I'm talking to Emmy nominees, and this person actually is a winner too. And let's get his little resume, his daytime resume started. He first was on as Tony Santos on Guiding Light, which I love that show, of course. We miss it. Miss it terribly. And he won an Emmy for that a long time ago. Yes, we'll talk about that too. But he was also on All My Children as Griffin Castillo. I met him during his stint on Days Are Our Lives as Dario Hernandez. That's about 5, 6, 7 years ago we met. And of course, he just finished his stint on The Young and the Restless as Rey Rosales. Help me welcome Emmy winner / Emmy nominee, Jordi Vilasuso. Hi, Jordi.
Hey, pleasure to be here with you, James. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for doing this. You've always been very nice to me.
Thank you, brother.
Well, number one, congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, I watched your interview with Michael Farrow and other people. I saw some of the stuff you were saying, but I wanted to ask you this. I don't think he asked you this. So, leaving the show and getting a nomination, how does that hit for you as an actor, and also as Jordi?
I mean, I hate to say that it gave me some closure in the way that I wanted, but that's the truth. I mean, I didn't leave on my own. You know, this was a choice not made by me. It was made by the studio, what have you. So that was a great kind of consolation prize, I say. And it felt, and I knew it was a possibility after I had spoken to some cast members who had seen the show, primarily Peter Bergman, who had reached out on a phone call, which was lovely. He's just a lovely human being and actor. And he's a great leader over there on that show. So I really, but for me, it was, you know, it definitely was an ego boost. And in terms of the show and the award ceremony, I'm just excited that we'll all be together again. This was something that, you know, to look forward to in the month of June. It's great. So I'm looking to having a great time, whether I win or lose, just to have a great time with it.
I feel like everybody I talk to is that same sentiment. Like, I mean, we're nominating, great. You want to win, of course, but it's kind of like, want to be together again. Because the last time we were together, it was like 2019, I think, in person.
Yeah.
That's the part we love, because that's the time we get to all see each other. We're all dressed up, and it's laughs and fun, and we're cheering each other on. It's a lot of people don't realize. Now we realize, I think, now because of COVID and the lockdowns, I miss people. Yeah,
it's like a great reset, and it's a great coming together again. And let's get on with new normalcy, right?
Yes, definitely. I want to mention a piece of your work that you did that was not too long ago, that aired not too long ago, it was a few months ago, that I thought was very interesting. Ray was being reflective. There was like a couple episodes where you were being really reflective on your situation and how you didn't have any kids of your own, and how Sharon has all these kids. You're part of their lives, but they're quite like, you're trying to find your place within the family structure, and I thought it was some really beautiful work you did on that. It was very quiet, and it's kind of like we've all been there on some level about something.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure. I always say, if I talk to Jordi, I want to tell him about that. I really like, there was like a few days there of work that you were kind of like giving looks to Sharon, watching her talk to the kids. Then you see Nick over here, like you're just kind of watching everything and going, where exactly do I come in on all this?
Yeah, and I think that was an interesting take on it. I think Ray wants kids ultimately, and definitely that was something very appealing about Chelsea.
Yes,
you know, but he loved Sharon, and that was something that, you know, being the noble character that he was willing to accept, and being a father to her children. And you know, the relationship he had with Connor was very encouraging as well. So yeah, I think he was finding his place. I think I also enjoyed that part, because I love that they actually gave me a chance to show that side of Ray. I think there were sides of Ray that in different storylines we were able to see, but there was a complexity to him that wasn't always this nice guy who was coming through, who was doing the right thing. I wanted to show more the dark side of Ray at times, and in the hopes that did happen. You know, this kind of just touched upon not the dark side, but the vulnerability of this guy, and the hopes and dreams that he always aspired to have in his own life. So yeah, I agree. I think that was part of it that just showed a different side of what he may have wanted.
Yeah, and the closest of the kids were you and Faith. You know, and And I mean, oh my God, she's nominated for an Emmy too this year. I mean, she's
Yeah.
not on the show anymore either. She's an amazing actress, also another
Yeah.
amazing actress. You had some great work with her, also. Can you speak on that a little bit? You had some great work with her too.
I did. Ali was fantastic. She'd been on the show since she was 3 years
I
old,
know.
so it was like wow. So and I was there when she left. I was there for her final scenes, and her whole family was there, and it was very just beautiful. And I wish her the best with her next projects. But I actually included a clip not with Ali, but with the girl who came on to play the new Ray Lynn, the new Faith. Yeah. So in the midst of this Adam triangle and her needing, I believe it was a kidney.
Yes.
I sat down with her, and it was this very, you know, I'm her stepfather, but she loves my presence at the house. She's in bed, and I'm just trying to wish her well in the midst of all this conflict with Adam. You know, I'm chasing Adam, but he has this kidney to give to her, and Sharon's upset because I'm upset, and I'm still trying to rest out. So it's very complex, but at the end of the day, I have to be there for this little girl who's suffering. She doesn't need to know about all that other stuff. So that was something that I was like, something I could understand. There was an understanding there that it was like, let's get all that other BS away, and let's just deal with this human being who needs love at the end of the day and hope in the midst of her survival, really, at the end of the day. So that was something that I included in my Emmy reel that I guess people appreciated.
It was good. Now, I talked about this with James Reynolds in terms of being African American. So I want to talk about my other side of my life, my Latino side of my life.
Yes.
So here's the catch-22, I think, for you and your character. It gave you a family. I know Eva LaRue. I interviewed her. We're friends. I know her. I've even been your castmates. Wonderful. But it gave you, so there was a Latin family.
Yeah.
But also, Ray actually was in just, I say regular storyline, but I'm just saying in storylines that were not color specific also.
Right.
Ray was in both. Like your friendship with Chance. Love that whole where you're looking out for. I just loved all that stuff. And Ray was, because you were part of the cops, so to speak.
Right.
Spread around. But I just wonder for you, in terms of representation, both were great for you, I guess, because there's like Ray could be anywhere, and he's married to Sharon, who's not Latino, and that whole thing. But also a Latin family on daytime. So I mean, I'm just kind of curious what your feelings are about all of that.
I love the dynamic of the Rosales family when we were all together. It was fun. It was natural. They were very into us slipping in our own cultural idiosyncratic behavior when we would just say things, and they were for it. So that to me was fun. Jason grew up in Hialeah. Sasha grew up in Hollywood, Florida. These places, I know these places. So for me, they were just easy things to pull from. And yeah, I love that we were able to kind of represent that specifically to the Cuban of it all as well. Yes. I remember walking into Ray's apartment, and there were these little Cuban tacitas, which you pour Cuban espresso into.
Yeah.
And I was like, and they had a Cuban flag on them. I was like, this is, thank you. I thank the set decorator, Jen. I was like, thank you so much. Like, that means a lot to me. Like, I've never seen that on one of these shows. So that was huge. And then being able to interact with the other cast members, it was nice that it wasn't just primarily that, because ultimately it's not all about that. It's about how we interact with each other. And there were times when I was, was scripted as well. The Spanish was scripted, and
so I could use that. Spanish was scripted. I was going
to ask there were times I had to, lean in on them and say, well, actually, this is not how you say that. Let me just help you out with this.
Yes.
And but there were times where it's just you're part of the Young and the Restless storyline, and it just, I was really grateful to represent that. And yeah, because
Jordi, because you just said something that's really important. There are different types of Latinx and Latino people, and even way less represented on daytime. We have a few. Of course, your former sisters and them over there over on Days of Our Lives, Camila Banus and Galen Gehring. I love all of them. They're still doing their thing. But I was saying there's Cuban, Puerto Rican, Dominican, the Caribbean Latinos. That's something totally different.
Totally different.
And speaking the language, very different words are used.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks, these shows are shot in Los Angeles, so there's like mostly either Mexican usage or Central American. That's very
Sure.
different than
Yeah.
Caribbean Spanish in some
Yeah.
ways, right?
Yeah, 100%. And for whatever reason, I think, Camilla's Cuban over there as well on
Yeah,
days
she
as
is.
well.
Yeah, the
So
Hernandez. Yeah.
the Hernandez, we played that up. And I remember, and I was privy to that experience as well when Josh Griffiths came on the show as a writer and he tried to incorporate this Hispanic family as well. And also in All My Children, that was another thing. So I've been part of this opportunity for storytellers on daytime to tell the Latin experience, maybe Caribbean Latin experience for a long time, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to.
So it's not a burden to you. You don't feel like I get cast in these things, but you're like, no, this is actually a great opportunity. You can be the vessel to like show it.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And ultimately, it's not just all about that. You want a great story to be incorporated in that. But the fact that we can share that and show that other parts of America which exist, yeah, I'm totally about that, and love when I get the phone calls from the 305, people saying, "What you spoke like that? That was so real. That was like the way we speak at home." Like that to me is just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, that's so funny. No, I mean, representation really does matter. And I think when you said something about having the artwork, I said there's certain things I look for. And I think all of us of people of color will look for things. We see it to see if something's out there because it's not just the dialogue. It's what would be there in their home. Like, I mean, they would have something, a cup that has, I mean, there's things you would have.
Yeah. And you just lean into it more. It makes everything just more visceral and it was really fun. What a great dynamic. What a great time. What a great time I had with that.
How do you keep it fresh? You've been doing soaps for 20 years at this point. You've been doing soaps. I know every set's different, every style's different, but just for you as an actor, how do you keep it fresh? Because it's a fast-paced dialogue. It's get in there, blocking, do it, one take a lot of times. How do you handle all that stuff after all these years?
I try my best to just let it go, because it's not like we're doing a play and we're rehearsing either. I mean, we rehearsed that day,
right?
And I remember even some actors don't even like to rehearse. Like Susan Lucci didn't want to even say her lines before she got on set.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She wanted to do them on set. So there's that excitement of it.
Yeah.
I would say in terms of the genre, like, man, unless you have like a photographic memory, it's always going to be exciting. I remember there was one cat, Justin Dees,
Justin Dees
from Guiding Light, who was a legend,
and he was Emmy Winner, legend.
Yeah. He would just come into where we had dry rehearsals, and he would walk in, pick up the script, start ripping out his pages. The guy had a photographic memory, and he was so loose and so just on screen. He had just like this presence. He reminded me of, in a way, of David from All My Children. What was his name?
David Canary.
He had this presence, another legend.
Yeah.
But yeah, these cats would just go there, and I'm always curious. The acting profession has always had this allure to me as a young kid of how people do things, how these performances or experiences on screen translate to the audience, and I find a responsibility to keep that excitement going for the audience, and I think that that's part of what I do. That's part of the job. So if I'm coming into work and I'm feeling like, even if it's like 5 lines, if I'm feeling like, oh, I'm just going to phone it in, I don't think I've ever done that, to be honest, because it's just, it doesn't feel right. It feels like I'm cheating the audience. So whether I've done it right or wrong, I'm always there to kind of give a piece of myself and put everything I have into the work.
Well, the camera doesn't lie either. Us fans can tell when someone, like we shady name names, when we see people, sometimes you're like, they're not, even myself, even as a host, there's times I'm like, that wasn't a good interview, or that was the best interview, or that wasn't, I was half there. Like you could tell when someone just kind of goes through the motions. They give you a performance.
And there are times on this show recently that I had probably one of the hardest times I had years on Young and the Restless, and I just kept going up. I thought I had enough time to rehearse with the other actor, but I didn't. And it was with Connor Floyd, the guy who plays Chance now. and I just kept, but I stuck in there, and it happens, but you know, you kind of work with the crew, with the cameraman, because you're going up so much, and you still want to do a good job, but it's a struggle. And it's like they in the control room, they can see you sweating. I'm cursing, I'm having a day. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, just give me 1 second. Ba, 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 ba. And I'm like, and I left that day, and I texted my director, my producers, apologizing, being like, guys, that's on me. I'm sorry, that'll never happen again. I'll deal with it. And then they're like, thank you, first of all, for doing that. But also, you're going to see these scenes are going to turn out great. And they did. They turned out great, even in the struggle, even in the midst of the struggle. Because a lot of times that struggle can reflect what the character's going through in the scene. It's part of the dynamic. So if you're able to use that and just fight through it, that's an experience. So I think just don't give up on yourself, I guess, is kind of the point that I'm trying to make. Don't give up on yourself, even if you go. Yeah,
that's a great example. Now you think it's gonna be horrible, and actually, it actually feeds the seed. That's hilarious.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's wow. No, you and Connor Floyd were great together, and I think it's funny. He's doing great work right now. I mean, I'm like, where'd he come from? I have no idea, but he's doing great work. And you got a chance to usher him in with the, with the friendship plus the work relationship together. That's another good relationship. We like that. We liked that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good. Because again, we got to see more friendships on these soaps. I think it's one of these things we like seeing friendships, and seeing male friendships and female friendships are very important. And you can tell you can convey the same emotions as relationships, love relationships, through a friendship where you care about them. And you did. Ray was like, I don't know, like, what's going on? You have PTSD. Like, it was an important storyline. It was a very important storyline. And but it's like your role as kind of the boss, but also the friend, the concerned person. You had to play all that, didn't you? You had to play all that.
Yeah, and he was awesome. He's, that was his first big gig, and I love I love the idea of a mentorship in this profession as well, especially when a new actor comes on and in an environment that's so fast paced. And I'm always like, what can I help this? What can I do for this actor? Not only for them to make the scene pop, but for them to feel comfortable and know that they're gonna grow in this process, and they'll feel safe and comfortable. Like, that's always really important to me, for the other actor to have, and to know that I'm there for them in that way. And Connor stepped up right away. Right away.
All right, so Emmy stuff. Okay, you won younger. I think it was younger leading actor or something. They changed the titles over the years so much. Back in what, 2000?
2002, 2003.
Okay, that was a little bit ago.
Almost 20 years. Man.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of crazy. I don't know where it's from. You look the same. So don't worry about that at all. No, but I mean, okay, so now you're up for one. I mean, again, does it hit differently? Because back then you were new, you were younger. I'm sure it was an honor and all that was great. But does this nomination just mean different? Does it mean more? Like, what does it mean?
What does this mean? This means that I still got it, even though I'm kicked off. So yeah, it gave me a little ego stroke. The supporting, I was actually brought up to my attention that the supporting roles are actually probably the hardest roles to get the nomination in, because there's so many supporting characters on these shows. So that was really cool as well. And also, like, knowing that you had the storyline to do it, like, I had something that I was like, when I saw, I was proud of at the end. And you don't always feel like that, but this is like, oh, okay, all right, this is something that I can not only have for my Emmy reel, but I can show to other people, be like, hey, you remember that time I was on Young and the Restless? Yeah, this is some of the stuff I did. Yes. And you can kind of show that piece of your work. So for me, that's important. And for my kids, this idea of a trophy, of an award, it's part of their experience growing up. They get trophies from sports, school, so they can relate to it on a certain level that I really appreciate.
Where is your Emmy?
It's next to the TV.
Okay.
It's next to the TV, next to the trophy that my wife won in 2019 for a chili cook-off that she had. We won Best Chili, not only the Judges Award, but the People's Choice Award. We have 2 trophies, and we're really proud of that. So they're right next to each other.
Oh, no, they're equally, trust me, I love food, so equally as important to me.
This chili was amazing. It's still, I mean, she's got to do it again. We keep talking about it. We just got
I
to do
love it. I won a pork chop cook-off once. And
what?
yes.
Wait, hold on, James. We have pork chop night at my night. So please, I need to hear.
Folks, stay right here.
Yes, the pork chop trophy. I cannot wait to see this.
I am not joking.
Oh,
I am not joking.
let me see this.
My pork chops are legendary. They're legendary. And so I won over 13 people. This is my award for best chops ever.
Yes.
2005.
That's amazing. So what's the trick? What's the secret?
I would have to kill you.
Okay. Just... onions? Yes or no?
For me, mine or no onions.
No onions. Okay. All right.
Okay, I'll give you a little hint. I cook them a certain way, and then change it midway.
Okay, and then I'll give you a trick to mine. Rendered bacon fat.
Well, that's close to my. Okay, that's kind of close.
Oh,
close to, right. That's like that. Yeah, that's close. That's something close to that. Yeah. Well, we come from similar backgrounds, of course. I think the same thing. But that's important too. But mine is the way, because the way I was cooking them, people were like, "You're doing it how?" That's what, and I learned that from my grandmother. So it's a certain way I cook them. I cook them 2 ways.
Okay. I think I have.
And it actually makes a beautiful, juicy.
Oh, so good. I
have my work out.
Yes.
We have that. We have that in common. Now friends be like, you have to have a pork chop cook-off, something like that. So who knows? One day, maybe.
I didn't even know there was pork chop cook-offs, but that sounds amazing. I'm all for that. I'm all for a good pork chop.
I'll keep that in mind. Maybe for a charity something when we one day we'll do something like that. That's something that'd be something. But now I'm looking at my award. But no, it's just as important as I have other awards too, but that's just as important. Your chili stuff is just as important as that Emmy.
Yeah, no doubt.
That is hilarious. Thank you for your time, of course. You've always been a good friend to me. Okay, so I got to do this before we go. So I do a show called The Young and Restless Spotlight every Sunday. I work with Matt Kane over there, everybody over there. We do all this stuff. My 2 co-hosts are Tammy Govea and Amanda Russ. Amanda Russ is your biggest Ray fan. She and a fan of yours from Guiding Light too. She's a Guiding Light fan. Beautiful. So, okay, say hi to Tammy first. Hello, Tammy, for me.
Hey, Tammy.
Now for Amanda, just say a little something for her, because she was so devastated when you were killed.
Oh, wow.
She's always been a champion of Ray. So just anything you can say to Amanda.
Amanda, thank you for the love for all these years. I can't believe it's been 20 years. We're back on this big stage, but thank you for the love. I too was a big fan of Tony Santos, and so was my wife. And before we met, my wife used to watch me on Guiding Light, and I think she kind of manifested what she wanted. So there you go.
Okay, where's my bell? There we go. And also before we go, thank you for doing that. Also before we go, she couldn't make it. His wife couldn't come on. She lost her voice at the moment. She come on. But you have a podcast, which I'm gonna have you back on. We're gonna talk about the podcast and promote that. But just mention the podcast to folks, what you guys are doing.
It's called Making It Work Podcast, where we navigate the ways that couples make it work in their relationships, in love, in family, and in life. Very curious about marriage, partnerships, and just the narratives that can really serve something that's necessary in keeping these relationships going, the families together, and prospering and flourishing in the times we live in.
It's good. You guys are fun, and it's good.
Thank you.
Amanda loves it too. We listen to it. It's
Thank
fun.
you.
You guys are
really appreciate.
You guys are real. You guys are like real.
That's what we're trying to do. Just give a real on a platform that we can be real and authentic and share whatever hacks we have, and have others come on and share their hacks and inspirations for hope.
Yeah, definitely. Now, folks, the Emmys are June 24th on CBS. Hopefully, I will be there in the red carpet. I'll see you there. Yeah, I'll see you. We're waiting to hear from the people how they're going to do this when it comes to press. We haven't heard anything yet. But it will be June 24th, folks. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a big celebration, and Jordi will be there. We'll be rooting for you. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I'm James Lott Jr. We'll see you next time.
Mwah.